It is time for the Monday Morning Quarterback with Devin Gardner, brought to you by Grand Traverse Resort and Spa. It's where you find your true north. Devin loves the spa. I love the golf. And if you put the two of us together, we're going to have a great time at Grand Traverse Resort and Spa.
That spa is crazy. This shirt, this is my first time wearing it without like something underneath. It feels like the spa.
This
shirt is perfect.
The gear is great. Their gear is great.
Can you guys see how like it's so gentle?
That's a Peter Millar. That's a high
I actually
level
think
stuff.
I can golf with this one. I think I'm a good golfer with this one.
Oh, you can golf.
100%. If I wear this, I think I can golf for sure. My shoulders are like able to just like, you know. It's,
he puts
that on and you just hear
pretty much. Check him out at grandtraverseresort.com. Great friends of the show. And we love those folks up there. So no Sam today. We apologize, Sam. Family emergency. Everything with him, his wife, and his kids are fine, but we're putting that out there. Otherwise, he asked us to mention family emergency. He'll be back hopefully on Wednesday. So I'm going to do my best here in the air chair. There'll be a lot less combative.
Of course not. It won't be combative. Actually, you know what's crazy? Today was going to be a very
kumbaya kind of day.
We were going to be straightforward. We gave these answers to the test from the beginning.
That's true. You've been providing the cheat sheet for a month.
Sam was going to have a great opportunity to gloat. Obviously, it's getting exhausting for me just always being right. You know what I mean? It's exhausting, Ira. And I love it that you're always here because you know from the beginning, every single time where it's just like, well, Devin did say that 6 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago, or 2 weeks ago.
You've been on all this with the quarterback, which obviously Monday Morning Quarterback. We're going to talk a lot about Alex Orji. You've been on this for a month about. And I don't want to spend too much more time on the hindsight. They made the decision they did of when they made the changes. So we're in this situation now. So we're just kind of living in that's where we are. We've already gone through the other part of it. So Alex gets his first career start. They get the win, which obviously is the most important thing. Alex Orji did not turn the ball over, which is the most important thing for the quarterback.
Yeah.
And Michigan beats USC, a very important win.
Very important. It's a huge win on so many levels, right? On one level, it's a huge win because for fans, for me, for anybody that, agree with me that at the moment it looked like a coaching staff that wanted to be right rather than get it right. It proves they're committed to getting it right. And that's a huge relief. Huge relief for me. I'm sure a huge relief for all the fans because if you're just going to be committed to being wrong, that's crazy. And that is a means for disaster. And that's what it looked like it was heading to. And they fixed it, right? They fixed it. They put in a kid who had no experience, right? But he's played a snap for one snap per, until yesterday, or Saturday. So putting a kid with no experience and they had a plan. So another reason why this is such a huge win is because Michigan has their identity again. They have their identity and who they want to be. Right. Obviously, I have to mention that Sam and I suggested that this should be the plan all along just because, I suggested it just a tad earlier because I saw it was very clear that blocking loaded boxes and blocking without the numbers was going to be very difficult for this offensive line, especially early. But I thought that trend would kind of go through the entire season. And with a quarterback that can run, you even out the numbers. You add an extra gap. Right. And whether he's carrying the ball or not, good things can happen. And we saw that example. And Orji's impact cannot be measured by 32 yards passing or the stats and different things like that. Cannot be measured, right? Those big runs against a good defense, right? We watched them play LSU, right? They got big old dudes, right? They got big dudes, and they played great on the defensive side of the ball. We watched that, and our offensive line kind of looked like they pushed them around at least for a half. Right, push them around. Now you get into the second half, a good defense coordinator, good defense. They'll figure out, okay, they're not going to pass it. Fine. Now they're going to put a few more guys in the box, right, and make sure
everybody.
And then everything's going to be third and long. We're going to know when he's passing on third and long. So when he drops back, firstly, as a rusher, I can just pin my ears back and rush, which is not conducive to the success of our offensive line. They're not ready for dudes to know it's a pass and just go after them, right? They have to have some kind of ambiguity, some kind of thought of like maybe it's a run, play action, anything like that. And then for the defensive backs, they got a really good defensive backfield. And so having those guys in the backfield, knowing when it's a pass, knowing that their defensive line is going to get pressure, it's not conducive to success at all. And that's why you saw that huge lull in the middle. But then when the chips are down, you need him to complete a pass. He completes it to the tight end on a shallow cross to set up an opportunity to pick up the first down, and then the rest is history. I mean, is that not what we saw from JJ in some opportunities where, okay, you haven't done this, you haven't done that. We need you to make a throw. Whatever kind of throw it is, we need you to make a throw. So all the people who, he can't throw and blah, 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 blah. Firstly, there were 22 first down plays, right? And this is going to have to change moving forward. We'll talk about it a little more later. 22 first down plays. Of the 22, 19 were runs or a behind the line of scrimmage screen, and it was only one of those, right? So 18 runs and 19th is basically just a run play, and so that's 86%. Can't win like that against every team. Now, next week, I think they're going to have an opportunity to play a little bully ball, kind of run against loaded boxes, still have success next week. But moving forward from there, I don't think that's going to be an option. So this is perfect because now you win a game that you probably shouldn't have won. When you say we ran the ball 19 of 22 times on first down, everything, like there's no way you should win. Right. That's why in the second half, USC's like, if you're just going to run the ball, we're just going to make sure we put you behind the chains there, and then it's going to be tough for you. So getting out of that game with a win was so impressive. So impressive when you needed to make a play. It's another thing I was certainly right about. After week 1, Kahlil Mullings should be the number 1 running back, unquestioned. That's what I said. I said that. And then next week I said it. Yeah. And now everybody else is on that train of Mullings, Kahlil Mullings. And I kind of alluded to this last year about his improvement and how much he improved even last year. And I'm just like, man, this is a guy who can really be that. He can be a player we can lean on, and everybody saw it on full display on Saturday.
So let me ask you a question about Kahlil, because maybe it's just
let's go back to me telling him how bad he was to his face, and he laughed. And he laughed. And he's like, "Yeah, man," and I'm like, "But you are much better now. I can tell you that."
And you obviously there's growth potential, which we're going to get into the growth potential at the quarterback position. Kahlil playing running a linebacker first, does that help him? Like, kind of you talk about going to receiver and how it helped you as a quarterback. Does having been a linebacker help him as a running back? It feels like, one, it makes him more ferocious as a player, maybe, but I feel like he knows what they're trying to do, so it helps.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. And you didn't see it initially because when you first do anything, it's going too fast.
You're thinking too much,
right? You're thinking about your job on offense, so you're not able to get in the mind of the linebacker that you used to be because you got to figure out what you're doing, right? So you would see him run into guys, not be patient, couldn't see the holes, all those different things. But once he gets the offensive skill set, all that under wraps, now we can think about what he would do as a linebacker. How would I scrape over the top? How fast would I be to get to this hole, right? And now you got action. Then what also helps him is his violence. He is violent.
He's very violent.
When you're a linebacker, some linebackers are different. Some linebackers are different than others. Some love contact, right? They love running into people. Some would rather just get you to the ground, right? And I'm not saying one is better than the other, but because the guy that just loves contact so much, he could get covered up by offensive linemen trying to, there are pros and cons to both of them. And the guy that just wants to tackle, it's just not very physical, right? He's not the most physical guy, but he gets guys to the ground. You've seen great players both styles. However, as a linebacker, he knows that every linebacker doesn't want that problem. Like Marshawn Lynch, run through a face. He knows every linebacker doesn't want that problem. And so that kind of physicality he can kind of use against them, right? Knowing that I know you really don't want to have to bust this screen or this counter. I know you really don't want to see me coming. And he's already big, strong, stout guy. And that run that everybody's talking about in that last drive, what a run, man. It's like a microcosm of everything he's already shown, just like planted in one instance. And he put the team on his back. Unbelievable. I was right about that as well. And I love it. It's exhausting. Like I said, it's exhausting. But I love that the defense played so well, right? They played inspired. We've talked about it. They wanted orgy. All right. I don't think it's any secret anymore. They wanted orgy. They played inspired. A quarterback who lit LSU up. I'm talking about lit him up. He wasn't even throwing incompletions, right? Lit him up. Yep. He threw 51 passes and still didn't get to 300 yards. 51. And honestly, we win this game going away. Kenneth Grant, who I wish the small running back wasn't there so that we can see him lift those knees and go all the way. Oh my God, I couldn't wait.
It's a long way for a big man.
I was convinced he was going to hit 20 miles per hour at least. And we were robbed of that. So number 4, I don't even know what his name is. I don't like you. We were robbed of that opportunity. However, that's an outstanding play by him. But if that play's not made, and then if Donovan doesn't fumble, this is a beatdown. We'll see even less passes, right? So the one thing that I think moving forward, now that they are committed to getting it right, they got it right, and they have to build and develop the passing game, right? They have to have more variety on first down, because just running 86% of the time on first down is not going to work, right? You can't continue to put yourself behind the chains, because we don't know if the defense is going to score touchdowns. We don't know if they're going to just be so dominant every single time. Now, they have the potential to be, with number 55 in the middle, number 26, and Big Grant. They got a real chance to be so imposing that nobody can do anything. But we've seen with how that ends for Iowa. We don't want that, right? We want to be able to help them. We want to make sure that we contribute as an offense to the wins, right? Contribute. Now, they did what they had to do this past week, and that's a huge win, being able to get out of there. But now the development and the maturation comes. You got a guy that got some reps. He's feeling comfortable. The team believes in him like no other. And I'm excited to watch the development of this story.
We're going to get to more on Alex and the driving force report. But since you brought up Michigan's defense and what they did to Miller Moss, he had 56 dropbacks. On 24 of them, PFF said pressures.
Under siege.
14 of the 24 were just Josiah Stewart and Derek Moore.
Oh, my God. Watching Isaiah Stewart, and it's just like, people probably like, well, where's this been? I told you they would play better. They would play inspired, right? Firstly, they got a team coming in here that's going to throw the ball. Oh, my God, this is great.
56 dropbacks.
Oh, what? Pin your ears back. Let's go. These big tackles can't do anything with me. And when I tell you, he was coming off that edge like a bat out of hell, and I'm just like, wow, this is great. I mean, we knew he was capable of doing it, but we just hadn't seen it. And it's a wonder when you believe in your quarterback, you love the decision. Guys just play lights out. And Stewart, he's under, like I talked about early in the year, he's undersized and all that. He got a chance, man. He's got a chance, man, because you can't teach the ability to rush the way he does.
His first step was so
good.
You
can't teach the way he's rushing after the quarterback. And that is, I've been in that position. You remember Michigan State. Being under siege at every turn, it's not okay. It doesn't feel good. And I want to give some credit to Miller Moss, man. He stood in there. He didn't flinch. He continued to battle. And I'm just like, I remember a guy doing that, but it is not easy, man. He's going to get a lot of ice bath. He's probably gotten ice bath 4 or 5 times already since the game. That was a master class on keeping a guy on his heels, or an offense on his heels. Lincoln Riley didn't know what to do with that defense. It was very, very impressive. And beating USC at that moment is huge, because they may not lose another game. They have Penn State, and I think they can get Penn State. They may not lose another football game this year.
Yeah,
and that'll be a great win for Michigan.
Yeah, that's why I saw Stuart Mann on The Athletic. He did his projections for the playoff. He actually put USC into the playoff after they lost, and he didn't go into a lot of explanation, but a lot of it has to be they don't have anybody else in the schedule except for Notre Dame and Penn State. And Notre Dame,
they're not going to get fooled twice. They're not going to allow Notre Dame to do with them.
And if it's the end of the year, it's got to be out at SC. So it's a road game for Notre Dame.
Yeah, they're not going to allow, unless Notre Dame develops, a viable passing game. They're not going to allow what happened to them on Saturday to happen to them again. You can see on Saturday, the second half, they stop allowing it to happen to them. Honestly, obviously we had that last drive, but before that, we're not allowing this. This is not going to happen. You're not just going to running plays and cue power and cue sweep and run back sweep. No, we're not allowing that. And that's why we're going to have to develop. But It's great to get a win when you play that way.
And we're going to talk about what that development looks like. We're going to talk about Alex Orji, the quarterback, one start now under his belt, as we continue here on the Michigan Insider. Devin Gardner's Monday Morning Quarterback, brought to you by Grand Traverse Resort and Spa here on the Big 1050 WTKA. Here we go. All right. So you know what it feels like. I knew as soon as I saw I watched Miller Moss, I'm like, our guy Devin has felt that way.
Man, I'm just like, my goodness.
It hurts a lot, right?
Man.
For days.
It's not a good deal. After Michigan State, I didn't practice till like Thursday.
Really?
Yeah, my spleen was bleeding.
Oh, that's right. That was the game that you had
no chance.
Yeah.
No chance of me practicing.
That was the game that you had the internal injury too. That's right.
I was getting destroyed.
Yeah.
And obviously I kept getting back up, but He kept getting back up, man. That was good. That was really good.
I was impressed with him doing that. But man, it is fun to watch that front four.
Mm-hmm.
I'm starting to figure out whatever that 3rd and 1 play was. That took it back
is a monster, man.
Yeah.
55.
There was a play where he takes the center and just throws him down. He's unbelievable. Those guys up front.
And you know what? It's even more because he's big, but after he disengages, his acceleration is like he's starting a 40-yard dash.
Yeah, he's got a good step.
You just messed with that guy. How are you able to go so fast again? Like, big guys aren't supposed to accelerate like that.
Bursts, right? Josiah Stewart's first step is insane. He's by the tackle before the tackle drops his step, right? Will Heinegger and I were talking about that this morning when we were talking about line play. That is just unbelievable.
See, I love Brian Molman with Orji struggling with did he struggle with passing? What are you talking? We're going to talk about it more coming up, but did he struggle with passing? I didn't see a struggle with passing. Right, I saw firstly a lot of wide receivers very, very covered, right, on every opportunity, and it's not. I wouldn't even blame the wide receivers as much. I would say that you're in obvious passing situations, right? So they're in zone defense. There's nowhere to go, and then with man defense, the DBs know that it's a pass, so they're really locked in, and they have a really good defensive backfield. That's what I saw. I don't know what everybody else is seeing. I saw a guy that when he needed to throw the ball away, he threw the ball away. So when you look at the numbers, the percentage, 58%. Well, take 4 throwaways away that were good plays. Now that's 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, that's 11 of 12, right? You know what I mean? So it's, if you just look at the stats and you look, they didn't throw the ball. Well, yeah, when they did throw the ball, it was obvious passing situations, which nobody's good at. Nobody. We saw somebody who, and we'll get into this too, being a passer that throws for however many yards or whatever the numbers that people are, I guess, asking for. It's not just about the quarterback. You have to have receivers. You want to win?
Receivers need separation.
Yeah.
Your line needs to pass protect. All those other things coming together.
The best pass catcher on the team didn't play.
Right. He was out.
And if he's in, a couple of those, that first pass up the seam, I think Colson Loveland wins and gets to that. Right, Klein, he's a good player. He didn't get the dude was
first
running.
Starts. Yeah, first starts.
Running right next to him. He's not the pass catcher threat that Colson Loveland. If Colson Loveland's in that position, that's probably a completion. Right. And so hopefully if Colson Loveland comes back, you get a tight end and they can play the way they want to play and get the tight end the ball. I mean, that's going to be exciting. Very exciting.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how they use the next few weeks because Minnesota obviously is not.
Borges.
Minnesota's not.
They
exactly
need to call Al Borges. Call Al Borges and meet with him because he has a mind of stuff. Because you can't call Coach Rod because he's coaching another team. You got to call Al Borges because the plan that he put together once we figured out that maybe just dropping back for Denard when they first came wasn't the answer. It was after Michigan State week, whole new game plan. It was huge. And Denard exploded, right? So they need to call him and just have a meeting. Just not everything in his entire repertoire of thinking offensively, but there are some things that he can help with as far as the Q runs and also the Q RPOs. Right, so a lot of people haven't really used it as much since Denard, but that Q power or Q sweep with passing routes attached, it's dangerous. It's the most dangerous thing in all football.
Yeah.
And
saying about we're coming back. Yeah, the Denard head fake and then
Roundtree. Oh my God, where he's looked like it's always Roundtree too. It's always Roundtree.
It is time for Devin's Driving Force Report, brought to you by Golden Limousine. You can find them online at goldenlimo.com. Devin, you have to hear this story. So you would have loved this on Saturday. At about 11:15, a Golden Limo pulls down into the garage. Steve Clark runs, opens the door. The camera crew is ready for Sam. The paparazzi is there. The blue carpet is rolled out.
How many straps?
Steve carried his bags for him.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
yeah.
No strap Sam.
No strap Sam. No strap Sam.
No strap Sam. Hashtag no strap Sam.
Hashtag no strap.
From Flint, and you don't even have straps no more?
No strap.
Steve Clark carried the bags.
He went VIP status.
Yeah, Steve carried the bags.
Yeah.
You used to have one strap all the time. Then for whatever reason you went to two. Maybe it got your burden got too heavy. Maybe. I don't know. But I saw you with two straps. I was so confused. I'd seen you for like 10 straight years of just one strap just hanging off. We went two. And now you're no strap from
he
Flint.
went no strap from Flint.
You getting red carpet service, and he's always talking about me, but he's not here to defend himself, so I'm not gonna kill him. But no strap Sam. Oh my goodness.
I have to defend him on this. I'm a 2-strap guy because my back can't. Like I'm old.
I mean, he was lopsided because he had been on that one strap for like a long time.
I have to do 2 straps. It hurts. It hurts to do 1 strap. So, all right, driving force report. Let's talk more about Alex Orji. We were talking about it in the break. You get the comments. He had a bad game, and you were starting to get through that. We're going to dive into the numbers because the numbers don't tell the full story. So he's 7 of 12 for 32 yards is the passing numbers, 13 of 43, which includes some sack. There's a 10 yards in sack in there, 10 yards of sack. So he actually had 53 positive yards of rushing when there were run calls that were in there. You talked about 3 or 4 throwaways. So he made smart decisions on like 11 of his 12 throws, more or less. And the number one stat, as I hand this off to you, he did not turn the ball over.
Did not turn the ball over.
First start of Alex Orji's career, first time with this offense.
Did not turn the ball over. So firstly, I talked about the numbers of 19 of 22 times on first down, right? Which is on, I talked about it on Dropping Dimes, is that prime down that you can get some easy throws for him, right? And they just didn't trust him to do it just yet. That's fine. Because the most important thing is winning the football game, right? So that is perfectly fine. He hadn't had reps. If I'm a coordinator, I'm not calling a bunch of pass plays on the guy's first start against USC. CBS brought the whole show, right? The studio crew was there in town. When Brian Jones called me and said, "Hey man, we're kind of going to get my haircut," obviously off the top barbershop. It's my barbershop since I was a kid here.
Shameless plug.
Hey, little fuck. But when he called me, I said, "What? Y'all going?" Like, so CBS looked at this as their big one, right? This is their one. USC, Michigan, and obviously it lived up to it. I'm pretty sure the ratings were through the roof when everybody looked and said, wait, Michigan and USC are like in a dogfight? Like, this is great, right? So when I heard that, I'm like, this is a lot, right? Striping the stadium. I mean, USC has shown they're great. They're coming off a bye week, like all these things, and they were able to get it done, right? So, the vanilla form of play call on first down, I understand it completely. However, moving forward, that can't be. You can't be 19 of 22 with only, what is that? 3 times you drop back and pass on first down, right? It has to be a better mix. Now, am I saying does it need to be 75% pass? Absolutely not. But the number can be 86% of the time we're on first down, not throwing the ball or dropping back or creating easy opportunities in a play action game or whatever for Orji to be successful. Now, when you get past that, even on second down, the number was 65, 70%, right? Was maybe a little over 70 was run plays again, right? So no matter what happened on first down, right? Second down was usually a run. Those 2 things can't be as you move forward. But when you do that, right, you set up difficult third down opportunities, right? Difficult third down opportunities. And they're difficult because 1, the pass rush knows it's going to be a pass for the most part, right? And 2, the back end knows it's going to be a pass, right? So they can freely rush, right, and put pressure on Orji. And of his 12 throws, all of them weren't dropbacks, obviously, because there was some RPO in there and whatever. But of the 12 throws, of the dropbacks, there was one time where I would say 100% Orji, and with reps, he'll get better at this, right? It was third down, and they had played open middle, right? 2 safeties high, open middle. Well, everybody knows it's pretty clear. You want to get a guy to the middle, right? They had all verticals, and Klein, the tight end, was making his way to the middle. Now, wasn't doing it quick, right? He wasn't, because like you said, doesn't have a bunch of reps either. He's the read guy. He's trying to read. Is it middle high? Is it one high? Is it middle open? Right? So as he's reading, he's not speeding through it, right? So But Orji gets the ball. He doesn't take his drop, right? That's first thing. And so I hate 7-on-7, the 7-on-7 age we're in right now, because so many young quarterbacks come up, just catch, stand there, right? And when you don't take your drop, and this is for Orji on this play, your clock starts, right? So it's like you're at the top of your drop. And when you're at the top of your drop, you got a mental clock as a quarterback of, I got so much time before I'm under siege, right? Before I don't have a chance to throw the ball because people are coming, right? So when you start your clock as soon as you catch the ball, essentially, now you start to get antsy, right? So he catches the ball, doesn't really drop, and then he starts like kind of, and there's no imminent danger, right? He feels pressure, but it's not real pressure. It's just that his clock is starting. He thinks that he has to do something, kind of panics, and he throws a ball that can be intercepted, which I'm cool with, but he throws a ball outside to a cover guy. But Klein is making his way through the middle, and it's going to be a big play, right? That's going to come with reps. Firstly, take your drop, right? Secondly, recognize middle open and have the plan of, hey, maybe we can widen that safety with our eyes, knowing that we're still throwing to the middle. But how do you don't expect that on a guy who is in his first opportunity? Everything's going fast. Everybody expects him to be successful. And honestly, he's probably trying to play to not make a mistake, which I agree with, right? The reason you got the job is because there are a bunch of mistakes made. Don't make a mistake. But moving forward, if they want to be the team they want to be, you can't play that way. And that was one instance where, oh yeah, that's all on Origin. He's going to be better, right? Obviously, they're going to see it on film. Like, see, look at this. You got middle open. And if you get middle open, you got to take advantage, right? Because it's not going to be a whole bunch of it just because you want to get people down in the box to stop the run, right? So when you get a chance to see middle open, we got to get guys to the middle as a play caller, and you got to make sure that you see it and get the ball there accurately and allow the guys to run. But other than that, the first throw that he had up the sideline, it was to Klein, zero separation. Balls outside where only his guy can get it, just a little bit too far. I'll take that. Because if that's Colson Loveland, I think that play's made. I think that there is separation, right? We got a first-round tight end versus Klein, who, whatever he'll be.
Yet, right?
You don't know, but whatever he'll be, he's young. But for Colson Loveland, we know exactly what he is. We've seen the separation he's created over the first few weeks. So I was very happy with the way Orji played. Obviously, his impact was felt in the rushing game. And I just always hate when people don't give the quarterback credit for what he does in the rushing game as if it doesn't exist, right? Michael Vick, Cam Newton, all these guys like, oh, yeah, well, he only has this many passing touchdowns. But he has 35. You know what I mean? He's rushed. What are you talking about? Do you not count touchdowns if he runs for them? Right? That's his impact as a quarterback. And then you don't even get into the impact he has when he doesn't have the ball. It's not a coincidence we have all these long runs when Orji's at quarterback. And that's what me and Sam said a long time ago. Like, this is going to change. If you're not going to be a super dynamic passing game, which you can't be with a guy who's a walk-on who hasn't had experience, it's tough. It's tough to do that. And you don't have Georgia's team where you can slowly get him along. That's not how it works. So if you're going to have to play the way you're going to have to play, a running quarterback is the best option, period. Right? And I even just said, at least give him a chance. Like, I didn't even say make him the guy, but like, he deserves a chance. And as much as I thought it was irresponsible to not give him a chance, because I think we talked about it in the break that I think he will be much further along, right? And we'll have it'll be a real issue. Like Michigan, everybody looking like, man, Michigan is really like a problem with this running quarterback who is finding comfort and developing game by game in the passing game. But that's in the past. They finally got it right. So now they can develop him. And I think the whole stigma of he can't throw, either you're lazy to coach him up to do it, or you're blind. Because from what I saw, he can throw just fine. His arm works just fine. Now, he has to develop as a passer, right? He can throw just fine. Like, everybody made it seem like this guy can't throw a rock in the ocean from the middle of a boat.
Yeah, that every throw is like the one that he turfed in the first game.
Remember I said that? I was like, that's not him.
Right.
That's not him. That's not him. I haven't thrown all game. I'm a little pissed that I haven't played 2 plays in a row, and now I have this opportunity and I blew it. Fine. We haven't seen a single throw like that.
Right. Everyone
has been on, even the ones that were, we saw this no separation, right? In those balls he threw, and I think they were good throws, but it was better defense, right? There's no separation. There's nowhere to throw the ball, and somehow he still fits it in there. Not dangerous, but it also gives this guy a chance. And, obviously they made the better play a bunch of times, so that's fine. But that doesn't look like a guy that can't throw. Now, add in the fact that you're going to be able to design the offense and make sure you get open guys, right? Because when you have a running quarterback and guys are stacking the box, you get those deep crossers, you can create a lot of opportunities. And one thing I've seen in college football that defenses are having trouble with is switch releases, right? You line 2 guys up, maybe 3 in a bunch, whatever it is, those switch releases, because so many teams want to play man-to-man, and that's what we're going to get. You're going to get a lot of man-to-man because they want to have guys in the box. When you get those switch releases, somebody doesn't communicate one thing, and it's a wide-open guy, right? And it's a huge play. So I expect Michigan, they should, I believe they will have those types of things in the game plan moving forward. And I think that this season was saved by the decision of Sharon Moore, and he should be applauded.
The next few weeks not to dismiss who Michigan is playing. Going to Washington is going to be a tough game because it's a West Coast trip and tough environment, all that. But you have.
I got Washington this week actually coming up. So
and so you'll have to be able to scout Michigan's next couple of big opponents because you had Illinois.
But
so
only for us, not for them.
Oh no, for us,
of course,
for this show. But so you have the Minnesota game on Saturday. You're at Washington. And you have a bye week before that Illinois game. So you now have it's like 4 weeks of this stretch of time getting ready for what it should be your next ranked opponent if Illinois keeps winning to build on these things, right? So you're allowed to develop and build and grow over 4 weeks. I just want to add in, you talked about the threat that never gets brought up in stats. Because it's all about eyes, right? People, where are you looking? That's why you play man-to-man defense, right? If you hand the ball off on a straight handoff, but your quarterback runs like it's a fake, their eyes are still on Alex Orji. They were not on Davis Warren.
So your eyes, not only your eyes, what does your body do? Right? So when it's Davis Warren, they just go to the run. Right? As soon as they see it happen, they run. When it's Alex Orji, they freeze. What does that do, Ira? It sets up what I love to call, and I think Borges uses this terminology, winter blocks. And winter blocks are perfect angles that are because a lot of times these linebackers are quick. They create bad angles for the offensive line. These big they're huge, man. It's tough to get bend and make sure you get these small linebackers from time to time. But when you get them to freeze for a second, now you can climb to that second level. And now you can have these huge holes where Kahlil Mullings is on safeties and corners, and you know what he's going to do, right? And even Donovan Edwards with a nice big run. So when you have a running quarterback, and those guys have to freeze because their eyes are looking, right? They probably won't run and chase, but they'll freeze. And as long as they freeze, it creates perfect angles for the offensive line. And that's why they played so well. They had so many perfect angles. Now, you got to a time in the game where it was like, oh, he's not keeping it much. We'll deal with that. We'll string him out, but we're going to race to this running back. And that's why they had that long lull, like we talked about in the third quarter. And then, and they're going to be able to work on all that, right? They're going to be able to work on all that. However, what you saw in the beginning of the game, that was all obviously Kahlil Mullings doing it, but the quarterback being a threat and forcing these guys to pause.
And something that it's hard to tell in the moment. I know Al will be able to really go back and watch this. If he had any misses in the run part of the read game, because you're not just reading.
That's a good question.
Right, you're not just reading like traditional football. You're reading the defense for a pass. Now he's reading. Sometimes it's a run or a pass because it could be an RPO. Sometimes it's just if it's keeping or giving it. But he's got to read the defense. And it feels like when we watch a replay once or twice that he probably either gave when he should have kept or vice versa. But again, first game.
Yeah.
That's
100%.
game reps, right?
And I also love I don't love I like. I don't love it. I like sometimes when he pulls it and he shouldn't. You wanna know why? Even if he doesn't, as long as he doesn't have a big loss, just keeps him honest. Oh, he will pull it. All right, fine. And I'm just telling you, he's big and strong. And when I look at people, they do not enjoy it. They don't enjoy it. Right. So you pull it every once in a while, whether it's right or wrong. Oh, it was wrong. No real damage. Fine. We're going to run the ball on second down anyway. Right. So now, but if they're honest, right. So when you pull your hands out without the ball and you start to run, they either freeze. Maybe they might run with you, but usually they just freeze. And that creates all those winter blocks that I talk about. So I give him a. I thought he handled everything about as well as you could have handled it, because I've been clear that I would have been hot. You didn't get. Wait, it took this guy to throw 3 picks. I couldn't even play against Arkansas State, right? Wait, I thought I was in a competition. I can't play 2 plays in a row. Like, so much has happened up to this point. And for him to be able to deal with it, be so poised in the press conference, so poised after the game, so poised during the game, not a single mistake, right? Obviously, missed coverage and all that. But as far as like a mistake that, I mean, it is what it is. But not a single real visible mistake. Like, that's impressive, dude, because everybody's like, oh, well, he just handed the ball off. This isn't turn around, hand it off. This is the read option mesh, which they're fumbles all the time, right? So that's an option for him to do that, and he didn't have any, right? It didn't happen one time, didn't look scary once. And again, I have to reiterate, he can throw for sure. He has to develop as a passer, which most guys around the country do. And the ones that are still developing, I have Washington State, who, by the way, they beat Washington, and now they play the Mountain West the rest of the year. They're probably going to go undefeated, and they're going to be in the playoff probably. Washington State. And their quarterback, his name's John Mateer. He can throw, not a great passer just yet, but they create opportunities, early downs, retreating coverage, throw a hitch, right? Throw a hitch, right? Get them comfortable seeing completions. And then when it's time to go, you go, right, as a runner. And he has been explosive. Go look at some of his stuff. He rushed for almost 20 yards against Texas Tech, and it was crazy. And I'm just looking the whole game. I'm calling the game, and I'm thinking, oh, my goodness. this could be Alex Orji. This could be Alex Orji. He rushed for almost 20 yards against Texas Tech and only threw for like 89, 90. I don't think he broke 100. Maybe he got 100 late in the game, but his influence as a runner had the defense scrambling. And I haven't gotten to the film with them against Washington yet because I just found out I got Washington, but I'm going to watch it. And I imagine it's a lot of the same. I imagine because it's a few weeks after the game against Texas Tech that he has more passing stuff in it, right? But it's still centered around his ability to affect the defense as a runner, whether he has the ball or not, right? His running back had explosive runs because, man, Mateer's killing us. We had it, you know what I mean? And I'm just looking like, if only Michigan. And at that time, I was all upset because they aren't doing it and they're continuing to double down on, what they were doing. And I'm just like, they are missing a huge opportunity here to see what this kid has because this could be him. And love Washington State. Michigan's offensive line, even though it's still trying to figure it out, it's better than Washington State's. And the level that they can get to is I don't know how far I can go. All I have to say is Tim Tebow won a national championship and he couldn't pass at all. Never learned to pass, actually. Never. Tim Tebow never learned to pass, but he could throw. I mean, some would argue he couldn't throw that good. Right. But when you watch Alex Orji, he can throw for sure. He has to continue to develop passing. And given what we've learned from him, from his poise, his work ethic, obviously, I don't see him not becoming a good passer if they put him in position to do that. I don't know how great, but a good passer for college football, 100%. And it's up to the coaching staff to make sure that can happen.
The Driving Force Report with Devin Gardner here on the Michigan Insider on the Big 1050 WTKA is brought to you by Golden Limousine. While Ann Arbor is their home, Golden Charter Motor Coach operators love to visit cities all over the U.S., from school field trips to D.C. to taking athletes to the next travel hockey or soccer match, providing shuttles at a major business conference in L.A. or a once-in-a-lifetime wedding event. Discover the possibilities at goldenlimo.com. That's goldenlimo.com. More of Monday Morning Quarterback Devin Gardner on the other side of the break here on the Big 1050 WTKA. And we are clear on the radio. Miz, can you pull program 3? Thank you. Yeah, I was watching what the Packers were doing with Malik Willis, and I'm like, do
same
that
thing.
stuff. Yeah, do that stuff.
Because Malik's still developing as a passer, but he can throw.
Because I was pregame, someone was like, so the first week, I want to pull up the stats from a couple of weeks ago, because the first game, they're like, oh, they can't do that again, and they can't win, because in week 2, he threw the ball very few amount of times in that game.
Who was that?
Yeah, he was Willis. And the first time he was 12 of 14. And people, NFL, you can't win in the NFL if you only throw the ball. If you don't throw the ball at least 20 times. He didn't throw it 20 times yesterday.
He didn't. And he was so efficient. And
he was really good. And what did he do? He affected the running game. Like, I'm watching that. I was watching.
It's examples everywhere. Yeah. So just pick one, right? Yeah. Just pick one.
Because I was watching, obviously I'm a Ravens guy, so I'm watching just their run part.
Love it.
The running part of it.
Because Lamar's still developing as a passer, and he's gotten so much better. But he could always throw. Figure it out. Continue to figure it out.
And so what I'm watching.
It's confusing you as to why it wasn't what should have happened.
I know we had this.
I know you're thinking like, well, why didn't we just do this to begin with?
Well, we've had these conversations for a month here. But, and last week you were on the air when you talked about how they weren't going to make the change. And you talked about why. And you were happy to be wrong. And
please, God.
I know, because I messaged you right after. I'm like, every once in a while you are apparently wrong. Once in a blue moon. It happens. Yeah. And you wanted to be wrong. You said at the time, I want to be wrong.
I hope to God that I am wrong about this, but I don't see the confidence. I thought that they were for sure because they had doubled down so many times.
And there are a lot of stubborn coaches in America that
stubborn.
My stuff
stubborn. It's my stuff. I'm going to make it work. And so I banked on that of like, yeah, they want to make it. They don't want to make it right. They want to be right. And they're going to find it. And I am so happy that they got it right. By listening to our first episodes of the Money. Oh wait, no, it wasn't just no. It was
all of our episodes. Leading up to that. So it doesn't. They made the change, and so it's. You had talked about why doing it. We're at this stage now, so here we are. I like where we are at least.
Yeah,
I know that they are a little behind of where they could have been because if you do this a little bit earlier, but they got there, so they weren't as stubborn as you thought they were.
Good.
And there's so many examples. As I'll bring up the Ravens example. You watch, they've got Henry next to Lamar. You bring Zay Flowers in motion, and Zay can be Samaj Morgan or Donovan Edwards, right?
Oh,
and
if it's Donovan Edwards, it's a real problem.
Right? And you have Kahlil, like, I'm not talking even the pass part, just the running game stuff that they were doing yesterday. The last play they got in the first down that clinched the game, the fake jet sweep. You have Henry's still there, so he can do something else. And Lamar fakes the jet sweep and goes up the middle, gets the 10 yards for the first down, and clinches the game. They're just, I'm assuming that we're going to get more motion stuff as they get more comfortable it goes back to the first 100%. Game stuff.
And then it's like, that's not like you talked about Malik Willis. Significantly different player than Lamar Jackson. Even though everybody just looks at him as, oh, both those guys are runners and they can't pass.
No, totally different.
Totally different players and styles of runners and all that. And it works. 2 different plans, right? So you got 2 examples there, right? There are too many examples for this not to be good. There's too many out there. It's too much information, too much knowledge, right? The relationship that you have with a Jim Harbaugh, who I'm sure is comfortable with assisting in any way he can. I just think that it's a bright future for what Alex Orji is capable of and what this offense is capable of. Now if they got it right.
They want to. It's Michigan. We want to run the ball 70% of the time anyway.
Right?
So.
Ain't that right? Like everybody should be happy, right? What's your infatuation with throwing the ball all of a sudden?
That's fine. You see Sharon after the game. He was asked.
It's my dream. Yeah,
I love it. It's my dream.
Yeah.
Now, you're not going to beat probably Oregon.
No, 100%.
No,
not problem. I'm going to go on the limb and say we're 100% will not. If you're 80% first down runs, you're not going to beat them.
All right, we're coming back in about 10 seconds on radio, so stand by.
What you want me to do? I'm sorry. I'm back.
Chill.
Go
People
get him, Myra.
Can't hear the music, but we got the beat going. There you go.
Yay. Go get him, Myra.
Back on the morning quarterback, brought to you by Grand Traverse Resort and Spa here on the Big 1050 WTKA, online at thebig1050.com. And so Sam does a great job of going through all of your questions that you guys have put up on this, in the chat. I'm not gonna be able to go through all those, but I saw some comments in there that I'm gonna kind of jump into questions because I thought of a few things in the press box that got me thinking. Because Michigan, obviously, they run ace formation, I guess / formation. Under center, you run pistol and you run tackle. I feel like with Alex, and I understand why they want to do a certain amount. Want to do. Shouldn't they do that in the pistol? Because Alex should not really turn his back to the defense a whole lot ever, and it kind of takes away some of his I know he could do run naked boots and stuff, but it feels like under center limits him a little bit.
No, I always like the under center because the run fake is much more drastic.
Okay,
right. So the run fake is so much more drastic because it's a longer way to the running back, and the more you have your back turned, the longer it takes, the more the linebackers want to inch up, right? Okay. And it's going to create real opportunities, like huge spaces behind them. Now, does that mean only under center? No. You can do pistol too. I think it needs to be a variety, but I don't think you take the under center out because you're going to create opportunities, especially when Loveland's back, right? He has a knack for finding the open space. And when you're able to do that, it's going to be scary, right? So I love that he turns his back. He just has to continue to get reps doing it, right? He has to continue to get reps doing it, and I think he'll be just fine. And the thing I would suggest is get deep, right? Because the deeper you get, the better you can see, right? He's not 6'7", like he's not a huge guy or anything like that as far as height is concerned, but he's definitely tall enough. And the deeper you are, the better you can see and understand and dissect what's going on downfield.
So I lost this comment in here, but I wanted you to comment on it. Someone had written in, he thought that Alex's best play of the game might have been the flea flicker.
100%. Think about this, dude. You're young, right? He's been there for a while, but he's young as far as, getting his first start and all that. Everybody's watching. You haven't been able to throw the ball much. They're not letting you. And then times you do, you throw it away or you pull it down and run or whatever, and they call a flea flicker. Do you understand? Firstly, it's open they usually do maybe once or twice where they make it not open in practice because it's all scripted, right? But all the other times they practice it, all those, it's open and you throw it. And they wouldn't have called it if he hadn't hit it. Right. So, he hit it in practice a lot. And for him it wasn't open. It just wasn't.
Very well covered.
It was so well covered. Yeah. And for him to get it assess, okay, it's not open. I got to go. I'm just telling you, young guys want to throw the football. And you see it all the time where a coach calls a trick play the second they cross the 50 or get close to the 50, and the quarterback throws it into triple coverage, or the wide receiver throws it into triple coverage, or the running back throws it into triple coverage. And it's like, it clearly wasn't there, and we've gone over this. So it's not an easy thing to turn down an opportunity on a trick play. He turned it down and made sure he got some on the play. Loved it. Loved it. Very good.
John Walls asked a question. It's something that I keep bringing up. Why do you think they won't play all of our offensive weapons at the same time?
Well, because they were so committed to the drop back pass, and with the drop back pass, you just have receivers out there, and Colson Loveland takes up a spot, right? Once you see it's like, oh man, we can't get to receivers not getting open. All right, bet maybe bring another tight end in, right? Just bigger target and all that kind of stuff. And so now that the offense has shifted, you're going to see Donovan Edwards, Mullins, Orji, Samaj, right? All on the field at the same time. Those are our, Derek Moore, Colson Loveland, Freddie, not Derek Moore. Derek Moore is the monster on the D, but Freddie Moore,
Tyler Morris,
right? Tyler Moore, like now you can see all these guys, right? Because I think Morris and Samaj interchangeable, right? Same player for the most part. Freddie Moore is one of he seems like he's one of his own.
He was
type.
A block away from a long touchdown.
That's what I'm saying. I think he's one of his own, right? So he's your outside guy, and then you got Colson Loveland where you can line him up outside, inside, or whatever. And then Donovan Edwards is the wild card. He's the joker. He's a joker. Like I said in the beginning of the season, his role should be similar to he was last year, and even expanded as far as like Percy Harvin, Joker, do what you want to do, Wildcat sometimes. Let's get you some jet sweep. Let's get you some reverse. Let's get you all this stuff because he's so explosive when he sees open space. And now that open space has been created, I think he's going to be a real problem. So, yeah, I'm excited. I think that that's a good question. And I think that now moving forward, you're going to see a lot more of all the weapons on the field at the same time.
Maybe the way the game played out allows them to, as they realized after the last game, it's got to be Orji at quarterback as the game, the way it plays, especially if Colson's out for an extended period of time. We don't know that.
Yeah.
But if he's out for an extended period of time, I want to see Donovan on the field with Mullings. They've only done it a handful of times. I don't want to see Donovan in motion or Donovan next to Orji, like all kinds of different things.
I think it's going to look good. And I think it's going to look totally different. I think that the more, because right now I can guarantee you Kirk Campbell's his family doesn't even know him right now because he's got a lot to do, right? They put themselves behind the 8 ball as far as this is concerned. So he's got a lot to do and he has to find a way to relay it so that everybody knows what they're doing. But you see it all around the country, those orbit motions, different things like that. And a lot of it is just window dressing to run your regular plays. Right. However, the threat of it is huge. And I'm excited to see it. I'm excited to see what it looks like. And again, I have to say, and this is really Sharon Moore, I'm super proud that he was not so committed to being right, that he committed himself to you guys, the fans, Michigan as a university. He committed to getting it right. And that's awesome.
So you got Kahlil Mullings powering it out of the tailback spot. You got Donovan all over the place doing his thing. Because the fact that
Donovan can still go back in, right?
It's not like he can't play tailback. You want him there too. It's just, and that's the thing about if you have Orji in the middle with Mullings on one side and Donovan on the other, that run can go all directions with any of them. So you don't know where it's going. It stresses the defense that much more.
It's a headache to deal with, dude. And then you know what's even more of a headache? Nobody's seen it either. Right. So now it's going to be even more because you don't have film to see what. Remember back when Denard was a quarterback and we did deuce package? Does everybody remember what we did to Iowa that year? Right. When Denard came back. So we had deuce package before, but it would work every time. I would come in and Denard would stay in and we have Vincent Smith, we have everybody, and I'll do whatever. But it was just kind of sparingly, but it always worked. And then we took deuce package to the next thing because I was the quarterback full time. And then Denard would come in sometimes. And go back and watch the Iowa game. It was people going everywhere. There were times that nobody even got touched because the defense just didn't know where the ball was. And by the time they figure out, it's too late. We're 8 yards on the field or whatever. So, like I said, give Borges a call. Have him just come in. Obviously, you don't have to adopt all his principles or whatever. And I know you don't want to spend too much time with him because he's annoying. However, he has some good stuff. And that deuce package is one of those things that I'm telling you, Iowa was so stressed out because that was the first game Denard was back. They hadn't seen it, and he had a whole package of about 7 to 10 plays where you don't have to have it as your main offense, but you throw it in there from time to time. It's a stressful deal for a defense.
Great stuff, DG. It was fun being in Sam's shoes.
That's right.
Shoes to fill, but I feel it was fun doing it. Sam will be back next week for you, but Thank you for making it easy on me.
I do what I can. I didn't even gloat that much, but everybody knows, everybody that's faithful listeners, they understand what was,
That DG is the man.
Get it.
DG is the man.
You get it.
Monday Morning Quarterback, Devin Gardner, brought to you by Grand Traverse Resort and Spa. Appreciate everybody for listening and watching, and we'll see everybody tomorrow. Miz, you're the man as well. We'll see you tomorrow here in the Michigan Insider on the Big 1050 WTKA.